What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Awesome Sauce here, and I would just like to say that even though I am not going to YCS Miami, that does not mean I cannot be of service to you guys. So I'm going to do this video right quick, and this will also start a brand new segment on my channel, and I'm going to title this segment, Break It Down. So let's roll the intro, and let's get started. Alright guys, welcome to the first episode of Breakdown, and today we're going to be breaking down right before YCS Miami, a brand new deck that came out last week that I feel people are actually going to start playing in the near future, and that deck is Fire Kings. Now, why Fire Kings? Why do I feel that's a good deck? Nigga, have you seen this card? Fire King High Avatar Garunix is a broken ass card. Like, it has the ability to Dark Hole every turn. And the thing is about this deck is that it doesn't have all its support yet. It's missing one fatal card, and that's Fire King Avatar Yaksha, which allows you to destroy Fire Kings from your hand. Now, why is this important? Because one key thing to realize about if you play Fire Fist this weekend or until Yaksha comes out, that if you draw Garunix, you are like, you don't understand. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is tribute summon it. So that's why a lot of Fire King players opt to play other cards to kind of mitigate that problem. And I'm getting into that later. But basically, let me get into the deck and basically what the main goal of the deck is in case you play it this weekend. Now, the main goal of the deck is basically to go for Garunix. Garunix is your win condition. Garunix is your boss monster. Garunix is basically the end-all, be-all of the deck. It's either you go for Garunix or you win. Now, at the same time, the deck can also exceed, and in some of the options that I will show you today, you can also go for crazy single plays, because besides Garunix, Barong and the Pony are also rekindling targets. The structure deck even came with a Flame Veil Fire Dog, so synchroing in this deck is also an option. So I'm going to get into a couple cards that the deck actually plays, and basically some also combos. So, let's get into it. First of all, let's start with the boss monster. Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Now, this card is a 2700 level 8 Fire Winged Beast monster. And basically what happens, and you guys can Google the actual wording of it, because I'm not going to bore you guys with that. Basically what happens is that if this card gets destroyed by a card effect, and it gets destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, during the next standby phase, it comes back, it activates in grave, by the way. The effect activates in grave to special summon it and destroy all cards in the field during the standby phase. Now, if it gets destroyed by battle, you can special summon a Fire King from your deck except Garunix. Now, why is this so good? In and of itself, this card is really, really busted. But it becomes even more busted when it comes to some of the spells we're going to talk about in just a little bit. Fire King Avatar Barong. This is your searcher. This is the Stratos-esque of the deck, except it's a little bit better than Stratos in my opinion. Basically what it says is that if this card gets destroyed by card effect, during the next standby phase, you could just search for any Fire King card. That includes Circle of the Fire Kings and Onslaught of the Fire Kings. Now, it also has the effect, along with every other Fire King, except Garunix obviously, that if a Fire King is destroyed on the field by card effect, you can special summon him from your hand. So that's really, really good. So let's say you Dark Hole yourself, then after that, you activate his effect from the hand, you reveal it for hand, and you special it for free. So it's really, really good. It's an 18, level 4 Beast Warrior, so you can search it with Tenki, which is awesome. Next, we're going to talk about Fire King Avatar Kirin. This is not really a really good one, but I play it, but you might see it, you might not. Basically what it says is that if it's destroyed, not even by card effect, but when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can take a fire monster, send it to the graveyard. Now, why is this good? Number one, it sends Garunix to the graveyard for Fire Circle. Number two, it stops you from drawing Garunix. And number three, it stops you from drawing Garunix. So that's why I play it. Now, the deck also shows some other really cool things, like the ability to synchro, the ability to run this card, Flame Veil Fire Dog. Now, why is this really good? Because you can go for Barong or any other Fire King, because they all have 200 or lower defense. Which, by the way, really, Konami? Really? Ain't nobody got time for that. Now, the version I play this also with Flame Veil Magician, so that way this gives me a lot of synchro options. Scrap Dragon is awesome in this deck, because you don't really minus yourself. It's actually, in fact, a +1 if you Scrap Dragon any of your Fire Kings, because you end up searching anyway, so you guys should basically blow up something for free. So it's really, really good. So that's that. And finally, well, let's move on to the spells. Real quick, Tenki is pretty obvious. It searches for all the Fire Kings except the Pony. It searches for Barong. A lot of people don't play this right now because Yaksha's not out, but usually you might see this with Bears. So if you play Fire Kings this weekend, be prepared for Bear. Now, other broken cards, basically around the deck, is Onslaught of the Fire Kings. Essentially what this does is that if your opponent has a card and a monster on the board and you don't, you activate this effect, you special summon any fire. Let me read this shit to you real quick. Special summon one fire beast, beast warrior, or winged beast from your deck. Its effects are negated and is destroyed during the end phase. You can only activate one of these per turn. It basically says, let me get your win condition for free out real quick. Real quick. So that's just stupid. So this is, they go second, beware of this, get ready for the warning. My personal favorite of the deck is Circle of the Fire Kings. What this does is a quick play and acts as a lance. Essentially what this does is that you target one fire monster on the field and you target one in the graveyard. That's your cost. Targeting. And then you destroy the first target, especially some of the second target. Now why is this good? Number one, it's a quick play, so it's chainable. Second of all, it gets rid of the card's biggest problems. D-Prison and Bottomless Trap Hole. So that's basically the biggest thing about it. And you get to plus because you don't really, when you destroy, you don't really lose anything. And finally, because you play the Flame Veil Fire Dog, you get to play Rekindling. Rekindling is really good in this deck because you can just bring back all the Fire Kings, and even the Flame Veil cards, and just do crazy exceeds with them too if you wanted to. And finally, the traps. The deck doesn't really play that many traps, if any. And finally, the traps. You see, the deck doesn't really play that many traps. But the main two you're probably going to see are Torrential Tribute and Call the Haunted. Now why? Torrential Tribute, you plus anyway if they get destroyed, so you don't care if your stuff gets destroyed because they're probably going to come back anyway. And why Call the Haunted? Because if they MST it, you can chain it and it's destroyed by card effect, so instead you plus. You plus 2 actually, because not only did you get a plus off the MST, but you plus off the monster you're probably going to destroy by card effect because of the effect of Call the Haunted to destroy the monster. Now that you guys basically know what everything does about the deck, including they play staples like Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, they do play Gores, so beware the Gores. They do play hand traps galore, they play Trags, they play Veilers, or Max C. Max C doesn't really hurt the deck, and neither does Veiler. Why? Because everything activates during standby phase, except Fire Dog. Garunix activates during standby phase. Max C, you'll probably get a +1 at most, unless they go for Rekindling. But for the most part, you're only going to get a +1. Or not even a plus, you're going to go 1 for 1 with the Max C. So, what are some broken combos with the deck? What are some combos that you should be aware of so you kind of know how to stop the deck? Well, I'm going to get into that real quick. Let's go. Alright guys, now it's time to go over some of the really common and broken combos with Fire Kings. Just to give you guys a little bit heads up before you go to YCS Miami. You can thank me later. Now, the most common and most broken combo that these guys can do, I like to call the Ho-Oh loop. Basically, it's revolved around bringing out 2 Garunix every turn. So basically, you Dark Hole and clear the board besides Garunix every turn, no matter what they do. Because they can't Veiler, or inactivates Engrave, so they kind of can't. There are very few ways to get around this loop. There are ways to do it, but you just have to kind of time it right and have the right cards. But basically, this is the loop. To set it up, you have to have a Garunix in the graveyard. And some way to get Garunix from your deck on the board. So basically, you need 2 Ho-Ohs to get the loop off, obviously. So the easiest way is if you have Ho-Oh in the grave, and let's say you put Ho-Oh in the grave with Kieran, which is also another reason why I really suggest running at least 1, but no more. So let's say you have this in the grave. Now, you have Onslaught, Circle, and a Garunix in your hand. You need Circle, and you need the Garunix. But I'm just using the Onslaught as probably the easiest way to bring them out from the deck. So let's say he's in the deck and this is your hand. Your opponent has a monster on board and you activate the Fire King Onslaught. You special this, correct? Yes, correct. Now, this says it's going to get destroyed during the end phase. So you attack with it, do whatever it is you want to do. Now, before the end phase actually starts, you want to activate Circle of the Fire Kings targeting both Garunixes, or Ho-Ohs. So you destroy this one, it's going to get destroyed anyway. So you send it to the graveyard, and you special this one. Easy, right? Now, if you do this during battle phase, which I actually suggest, you can attack again. So, why did I do that? Why did I switch a Garunix for another Garunix? Basically, this is what happens. Since you destroy the first one, it's going to come back during the next standby phase. So this is what happens. This guy comes out, and during the next standby phase, they draw, you activate the effect of the Garunix you destroyed. You special it. His effect destroys all monsters, so you destroy this guy. See what happens? During the next standby phase, your standby phase, this guy comes back. Dark holes again, and the cycle will continue. See? So that's just one of the broken combos with the deck. Probably the one that actually should be the most feared, is basically being able to clear the board of all monsters every single turn. This is especially a problem for Dino Rabbit, I've found, because if they Dolka negate, that's fine. You have ways to get around the Dolka negate. And plus, if you chain different effects, because a lot of the effects activate in Grave, you're able to actually set up the Garunix to where if he negates the summon, if they're bad, if they negate the summon and destroy it, you get the effect anyway and it comes back. So it's really, really good. So basically that's the main goal. I mean, not the main goal, but that's one way to lock down your opponent. They can't summon monsters because it'll get Darkhold anyway. So that means you're not afraid of cards like Boars and Trag because they're going to get destroyed anyway. So that's a really good loot. A second other play that you might see when you play the Fire King deck is a combo with Rekindling. Now, as you can see, Barong is a Rekindling target. He has 200 defense. So the Flamevell Fire Dog is very, very good. So a lot of these combos revolve around one card, Circle of the Fire Kings, because it allows for this gives you all the utility in the deck to be able to basically swap out and destroy and plus. Because this is never really a neg. It's never really just a 1-for-1. It's usually a +1. So another really good play would be to go Rekindling, bring back whatever you want, and then once you do that, you activate the Fire King Fire Ring, and you bring out the Garunix from your graveyard, or whatever you want, because it's not even any Fire King, it's just fire. So it allows for a lot of versatility. Not only that, if you run the Flamevell Magician, which is what I'm doing, if you were kindling all those, you sync for a level 8, which puts them back, which puts Fires back in the grave, which allows you to circle the Barong, which allows you to search during the next standby phase, and then you get Fire Dog or whatever you want back. Now, one thing to remember with this card is that the cost is to target, so there's no real cost for this. And for this, I don't even know what the cost is. Like, it's just for free. So those are some of the broken combos with the deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was really informative for you guys. I hope that this is giving you a little bit of incentive, especially of what's to come, because as okay as the deck is now, it's a decent deck. It's tier 2 at the moment. However, in the upcoming months, as Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy gets closer and closer to being released, the deck will be extremely strong with Yaksha, because Yaksha absolutely just makes the deck more consistent, more playable, faster by a lot. So, but for right now, I want you guys to just, because people will take the deck and try it at regionals, they will try it out. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up as far as the deck is concerned, and maybe possibly if you see it at YCS Miami, you can look back at this and realize what I've said, so you kind of know how to play whatever deck you choose to play at any given event. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this little informative side of me, and if you guys liked it, please smash that like button at the bottom. If you guys like this segment, if you would like me to continue this segment, go ahead and mash that button at the bottom. Comment below, tell me what you think of the deck, tell me what cards you would side, what you like about the deck, what you don't like of the deck, etc, etc, etc. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys like the fact that I broke this deck down for you, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and this is Awesome Sauce. You're welcome.